On World News Tonight this Wednesday, the boy in first grade who shot the girl in first grade. Are his parents somehow to blame? Where was his support system? The two teenagers in Maryland who made a suicide pact when she killed herself, he panicked. And now, might he go to jail? Why has it taken so long for the world to help in Mozambique? And why did Congress insist on pouring money into the shipyard when it wasn't building ships? It was your money.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. We're going to begin tonight with children in peril from Michigan to Mozambique. It's a difficult week. In a suburb of Pittsburgh today, children were evacuated from their daycare center when a gunman arrived at the end of a 3-hour shooting rampage. The man was finally arrested after apparently killing 2 adults and critically wounding 3 others. In Michigan today, the question is, how did a 6-year-old boy get
to pass more anti-gun legislation after another fatal shooting? 2 people are dead and 3 are hospitalized in critical condition after a gunman opened fire today at 2 restaurants outside of Pittsburgh. Jennifer Wolf has more.
Wilkinsburg, Pennsylvania erupted in gunfire this morning.
We heard gunshots. We heard 3 gunshots outside of our office. We went to the window, obviously, to see what was going on.
Police say Ronald Taylor had an altercation at his apartment today, shot a person there, and set the building on fire. According to police, Taylor shot 4 other people at 2 fast food restaurants before fleeing.
I walked out of my bedroom, and this man was standing in my living room. And he told me to be quiet, be quiet. I started screaming. And he says, I don't want to hurt you. Then he made me come into the kitchen, and he shut my back door, and he told me to sit down. And he asked me, was there anybody else in the apartment? I told him no, there wasn't anybody else in here. And he said, well, I'm not going to hurt any black people. I'm just out to kill all white people. That's exactly what he said.
The accused gunman later barricaded himself in a nearby building.
He called me out of the room. I thought maybe he was one of our patients, and he had the gun at the side, and he took the 3 of us in the back, and he said he had 1 bullet left, and which one of you 3 should I use it on?
That building housed both daycare and senior citizen centers.
We have people with dementia in wheelchairs.
After several hours of holding police at bay, the gunman surrendered. Today's shooting spree, coming on the heels of yesterday's elementary school shooting in Michigan, prompted President Clinton to call for stricter gun control measures.
As citizens, these incidents, particularly the one yesterday in Michigan, call on us to recognize the fact that we simply haven't done everything we can do to keep guns away from criminals and children.
Police are still working to piece together the day's events, but for many in Wilkinsburg, today's shooting spree may never make sense. Jennifer Wolf, Headline News.
Michigan prosecutors
The door to his apartment days ago because he'd lost his keys, and when maintenance workers went to fix that door this morning, the rampage apparently began. Taylor allegedly shot one of the maintenance men, then set fire to his 1-bedroom top-floor apartment, which was found gutted with the windows blown out earlier today. Then he apparently went walking off towards the McDonald's parking lot where one victim, Richard Klinger, was shot while sitting in his van with his stepdaughter, who thought that the suspect was approaching to ask for directions. Taylor then allegedly picked off 3 others in the lunchtime crowd, 2 at the McDonald's, 1 at the Burger King, before taking hostages inside that office building. Taylor now under arrest, awaiting his arraignment at the Allegheny County Coroner's Office, facing 2 counts of criminal homicide. Shep?
Rick, any word on where this guy got the gun?
No, not clear yet. Police aren't saying where the gun came from, but certainly it was enough for President Clinton to come out and say that we need tougher gun laws. We need them now. He wants Congress to act before they take a recess at the end of next week.
Rick Leventhal live in Pennsylvania. No school today at Buell Elementary in Michigan.
Tonight, random gun violence. 2 are dead in a restaurant shooting spree near Pittsburgh. And new clues to yesterday's elementary school shooting in Michigan.
Thanks for coming. The race for the White House. George W. Bush savors his 3-state victory, while a John McCain supporter urges a retraction of his attack on Pat Robertson, and a preview of tonight's debate between the Democrats.
Plus, uncovering the roots of a scandal. Los Angeles police offer answers to why one city precinct went bad.
From CNN, with anchors Wolf Blitzer in Washington, Joey Chen in Atlanta, and Jim Murray in Los Angeles. This is The World Today.
Good evening. Joey is off. There's been another outbreak of gun violence just a day after the shooting death in Michigan of a 6-year-old girl allegedly killed by a classmate. Today's rampage took place at 2 restaurants in the Pittsburgh suburb of Wilkinsburg. Before it was over, the shooting drama moved to a nearby building where dozens of people were trapped. CNN's Deborah Farrick is on the scene.
SWAT teams evacuated seniors and children from daycare centers 9 miles from Pittsburgh. While inside, a hostage negotiator talked the gunman into dropping his weapon.
The SWAT team sergeant from the city of Pittsburgh, I believe, basically effectuated very effective dialogue with the actor, and he eventually surrendered to him, and he was brought down here to our station.
It was the end of a tense standoff following a shooting rampage that left 2 dead and 3 critically wounded. According to police, it began in the apartment of 39-year-old Ronald Taylor. Police say Taylor allegedly shot a building maintenance worker before setting his own apartment on fire.
And he said, well, I'm not going to hurt any black people. I'm just out to kill all white people. That's exactly what he said. And he asked me if I had any weapons in the house. I said no. He asked me if I had kids. And then he told me, he said, well, I'll be leaving in about 5 minutes. I just want to get myself together. He says, I'll be dead in 10 minutes.
According to police, Taylor headed to a nearby Burger King where he shot 1 man before continuing on to McDonald's. There, police say the alleged gunman shot 3 others, 1 man sitting in a car, another inside the restaurant, and a third at the drive-in window.
He fired 2 shots at our officers and barricaded himself at the eastern, I believe it's the Eastern Area Services building.
As police began to close in, the gunman ran into the daycare facility.
And around 11:30, we heard gunfire going off. We thought was gunfire, and when we jumped up out of our chairs, we realized that's what it was, because there were people running through the streets.
My oldest daughter just came out, just hugged me, and just said, Mommy, I'm happy to see you. There's a man in the building with a gun.
The victims were taken to nearby hospitals.
Judging from the x-rays, it appears that most of them were small caliber.
Police tonight are searching for a motive. The gunman, meanwhile, expected to be arraigned on murder charges sometime tonight. Another community left wondering, why did this happen here? Reporting live, Deborah Farrick, CNN, Wilkinsburg, Pennsylvania.
In the wake of today's shootings, President Clinton renewed his call for the passage of gun safety legislation. Jim?